Thanks everyone for joining. I don't see your videos actually, but I know some of you guys and some are new. Welcome everyone. So today is the very first Mendix meetup in Germany, Cologne. You can see it by the attendees. Like in Germany, still not that high demand. In Netherlands, we have a lot of meetups actually, but it's a good opportunity to start here in Cologne, and also very welcome that you joined online. So today we have presenters. That's one me, who's going to talk about Mendix as a side-by-side extension for SAP S/4HANA. And then Yuri Reitman is going to talk, make a demo about Mendix with SAP relevance. And then at the end, Saqib Mahmood is going to present about 𝐌𝐞𝐧𝐽𝐿. That's our company, where we do Mendix services consultancy. I actually don't know if I should look at you guys or should look at the whole, right? There's more people. Okay, so then let's get started. As I said, my topic is Mendix as a side-by-side extension for SAP S/4HANA. Before I get started with what the whole thing is about, I want to first introduce myself. So SAP, we know it as the company, software company from Germany. It's very big in Europe. I think the #1 and also globally a big player. Then we have Mendix, who is actually the leading low-code platform, especially for enterprises made. And myself, I'm a Mendix expert and MVP, and I have the pleasure to host the very first meetup in Germany now. I worked at SAP from 2017 to 2021 in Walldorf at the headquarters. My role was IT business service consultant. It's a very generic role actually, but at the end, what I did at SAP is I did Mendix applications internally for SAP. It was fairly new back then. It was in 2018. There was just a partnership between Mendix and SAP happened. And I got introduced to Mendix, was a coincidence with my manager. And I started with building an IT portfolio management app at SAP. So I was in a team where we managed the IT portfolio and the business demand by what is the business demand, what is the IT delivery capacity, and then we had from the management some guidance what we should follow and kind of budget for external resources. And this whole process was done manually with a lot of Excels and PowerPoints, and it took a lot of time. And with Mendix, we had the opportunity to digitalize the whole process by having one tool where we could just the whole IT delivery process, portfolio management, we could basically have the process mapped there, and everyone could work on one tool. The tool itself, it took us 2-3 months to develop, and it was a very successful tool actually. It was called Integrated Digital Transformation. And back then I remembered SAP, other IT delivery teams, they were like, hey, who did this application? It was just me and a colleague, and also some support from students back then. And it was, how do you call it, like this light project? How do you call it? Something like it was an exceptional project. And and then basically my path journey continued with building more Mendix applications at SAP, from data protection and privacy and IT compliance. And all of the apps I built were basically on the SAP environment, on the business technology platform, with SAP single sign-on, with SAP and like a HANA database and all that kind of stuff, which is basically in the environment of SAP. And I gained my experiences there, and I saw that Mendix has a huge potential for SAP customers, because it was also internally at SAP a big thing. That I was like, okay, this is a topic I want to make you guys aware of, everyone, from SAP customers to delivery partners, because it is especially now, when we look at the agenda, SAP S/4HANA is something which is coming to a lot of customers at SAP who had their ERP system, which is the ECC, for example, and now transforming to S/4HANA. And this whole transformation from one core system to another, S/4HANA, takes a lot of effort and is costs money and time. And there are like solutions or like guidance from SAP how to do this transformation. And this is also called side-by-side extensions. I will talk about that more in detail. And the best part is that Mendix is a key player, a key low-code platform, which exactly helps for this transformation. So quickly, let's start about SAP S/4HANA. Just SAP in general, right? Some facts here. SAP was started in 1972 by 5 former IBM employees, and IBM is either way one of the biggest IT companies, and their vision was to have a standard application for real-time business processing. I mean, at the end, SAP is known for the ERP system, the enterprise resource planning, and what that is, it's a long text, you don't have to read it, but at the end, it's when you have a company and you have businesses, you have business processes, and you want to run that company smoothly, right? You have different departments like finance, accounting, supply chain, HR, and all that kind of stuff. So you want to reflect your company's data, the whole processes, everything in one core system so that the whole employees have a holistic view and they all work in a proper manner, and it's just digitalized, right? And that's what ERP is about in a nutshell. And SAP is one of the biggest. They have a lot of clients, and their ERP system is very well made. And the update is now S/4HANA. So the ERP system, what they had before is R3 or ECC. It's over 20 years old, right? In that 20 years, the world changed, the companies changed, the processes changed. So SAP is not only providing the software, not only the ERP system, but also comes with best practices. They say like, hey, look, if you run your HR process like this and this and this, or like finance process like this and this and this, you're running it in the best way because SAP gains a lot of know-how by all their clients who run their ERP system. So S/4HANA was launched in 2015. That's almost 10 years now, like next year is 10 years. And what is the special thing about S/4HANA is it has the new best practices to run your company, but also it's cloud enabled, right? So a lot of companies are switching to the cloud because it has benefits of scalability, of security, of also cost from the cost side and everything. It makes you kind of dependent on that. I don't want to go too much into cloud or on-premise, but SAP S/4HANA itself is now cloud enabled, and the previous ERP systems were on-premise. So what also is special about the S/4HANA is that it runs on the SAP HANA database. SAP HANA database is also, I think it was announced 2010, and it's an in-memory database where you can run data very fast. It's mainly for analytics and fast transactions made. So it's innovation from SAP itself. So the thing is, you have to imagine, so I'm a customer of SAP. I had the ERP system, the ECC, as we can see it here on the left side. And how the old world, let's say, was working is that when I had my ECC system and I reflected my company on it, all my processes, then as a company, I have my unique way of doing things, right? Not everyone can run the same way, so I have to differentiate. So when I run my processes differently, it means like that what comes out of the box of the ERP system doesn't work the way how I want it. So what was then done is you hired either SAP consultants or you trained your own people. SAP has an own language called ABAP. And what you did is you changed the core systems. So you tweaked it, you put some custom processes in it, you changed the code and everything. At the end, So well, quickly re-wrap for the ones who just joined. Sorry for the like that you had to wait in the waiting room. What I was talking about is that SAP customers, they have the ERP system, and the ERP system is called ECC. In the old way, how they so the ERP system is to reflect your company's processes, and in the old way, how it was done is, when I run my company and I have this core system from SAP, the ERP system, then I tweak the system. I had ABAP developers or SAP consultants who changed the system that it works like how I want it, to my unique processes. And it's important to have unique processes, to have also unique standing. So at the end, what the problem of this whole thing is that it's difficult to maintain. It's difficult to, for example, let's say SAP wants to make an update, and as you can see here on the left side, I have here my custom processes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what you see. So when they want to do an update, it kind of correlates with your existing code, and it's difficult to maintain it and to keep it up to date with the new standards. So what SAP now came up with is the clean core principle. The idea is very good. How it is in practice, we're going to see. But at the end, now as a client, as a SAP customer who had ECC running on-premise, I want to evaluate to switch to S4HANA. As I mentioned before, S4HANA has a lot of benefits with including new best practices. And when I go to S4HANA, what I want to do this time is I don't want to change my I don't want to change the S4HANA system again. I don't want to do the same mistake, or let's say back then it wasn't known, but today there are different opportunities and possibilities. So instead of that, I change the system in the core, right? I don't touch it. I keep it clean, and instead, the processes I want to build, the unique things, I make separate apps, standalone, but then connect them with APIs to my S4HANA system. So instead of having it inside of my ERP system, I have it now outside, and I just connect it, and then you can build a lot of custom apps and processes you can reflect with it. And then you keep your core clean. So if SAP updates the S4HANA software, the ERP, then you can just update it because you just took out your custom processes in a separate applications. So how you do that is by leveraging the SAP Business Technology Platform. I want to quickly show you. So that was a lot of animation. Just want to quickly show you again. That's how the old world looks like on premise. And you have your custom processes in the core, but then now you're switching to S4HANA. So you basically take out those core processes, you take them now out. And then what you do is here, as you can see, you put them in a separate layer. It's called BTP, Business Technology Platform. And then you just have your custom apps with custom processes, and you connect it with your S4HANA system. As you can see, there are still some custom and processes here done, but that's very minor things, right? So then when you are an SAP customer and you have the S4HANA system, so you have 3 different ways of customizing your S4HANA. The one is the in-app extensibility. That's what you see here. That can be done by a business user. It's a very simple thing. It's just, hey, there is a field, right, in the finance process, there's a formula, and I want to make that field like that it's required. That someone who enters the form has to enter that attribute and that field because you make it required. That's a very simple in-app extensibility, and it's just done by some configuration. Then there is the developer extensibility, and that's exactly that what we had before with the ECC. So you still have the possibility to change the core of your system, to change S4HANA core, but you should still not do it. But SAP still gives you the possibility to do that. and it's done with ABAP, right? That's SAP's own programming language, so still with ABAP. But what is the preferred way of SAP is, they say, okay, on the left side, you have here your SAP S/4HANA system, right? It runs, and you, as a standalone, it's already powerful. But with the SAP BTP, the business technology platform, which is also a cloud solution, what they say is, okay, you know what? You can connect your S/4HANA system with, they have the whole integration suite and so on. You can connect it easily with the SAP BTP. So that's a new solution you also would then buy as a SAP customer. And that SAP BTP enables you now with a lot of different things. So one thing is the side-by-side extensibility. That means the whole applications, the custom processes you want to build, the custom applications, you basically deploy them on the SAP BTP platform. And from there, you can access the whole SAP S/4HANA. So it's basically S/4HANA, SAP BTP, and from there, the all new things like the app development, but also like IoT, big data, data science stuff, like SAP BTP in itself, as we can see it here, is divided in 5 pillars. So one is the app development. That's then exactly what we're going to talk about today, how you can develop your custom processes as apps. And then with the business technology platform, so you host it here on the business technology platform, you can connect it to your S/4HANA system. But there's also automation, like SAP Process Automation, which automates some of your processes when you build them. And integration is one pillar part, and data and analytics too. So there's, for example, SAP Analytics Cloud for reporting solutions. When you're basically on the SAP BTP, you can access all of the services and like take advantage of that and connect it with your S/4HANA system. And of course, there's also the new part is the whole AI topic, and that's like quite new, fairly new, but it's also something what SAP, I think, what was it called, Loon or something is called, is working on. So now, what is the relation to Mendix, right? So as we said, there's the side-by-side extension. You want to build applications, your custom processes, but if you switch now from the ECC to S/4HANA and you have a lot of custom processes, that means a lot of development, right? You have to do a lot basically, and it's also cost you a lot. But now the solution for that is low code. So what is now the solution is low code. I mean, if you attend, you probably are already familiar with low code. It's that you can, instead of the traditional coding where you code your code and it takes a lot of time, you now have visual components, pre-made components, which you drag and drop, and then you kind of click your app together. It's just in a nutshell said like that, and it promises to be 10 times faster than traditional development. So in my experience, I would say that's true, like 5 times at least, and it can be also in certain times 10 times faster. And it has a lot of benefits. It's very easier to use. The developers still need technical know-how, but not as much as if you would code. I myself, I would say, like, I would have never been able to do applications, enterprise applications at SAP, for example, if I wouldn't have had the low-code platform, in my case, Mendix. And it has a huge benefit for me as a developer, but also for the clients. It saves costs. It increases like efficiency. It supports the agile delivery mode. And also, like, a lot of things like privacy and security is automatically taken care of from the platform itself. So how does now Mendix come in place? I had the luck, or like I was happy to be able to be there at SAP when Mendix was just partnering up with them. And SAP has different partnerships. One of the biggest, highest, is the solution extension partner. And that's exactly where Mendix is placed at. So Mendix is fully supported by SAP, and you can see it also here in the graph. So here on the below, you can see all the SAP solutions like SuccessFactors, the ECC, S4HANA, Hybris, Ariba, and so on. And then you see the cloud platform, the business technology platform. And with the business technology platform, you can, with the Mendix app, you can access to your whole SAP ecosystem. And I experienced it on my own at SAP. It was done very, very nice. And actually, people couldn't even differentiate the Mendix app from a real SAP Fiori app. So you see it by that Mendix has the Fiori templates, right? So SAP itself says, hey, we have a standard guideline for how the UI UX should look like. It's called Fiori, and that's because the users, SAP users, should always have the same way of navigating through the applications. So the cool thing is, now you have your custom process, you build it in Mendix, and you have that SAP Fiori template, the UI, then the end user or your employee is not gonna realize it's a low-code app or a Mendix app because it acts the same way like a Fiori app would act too, and they don't have to change their way of interacting with the SAP system. And one cool thing which I really like about Mendix is, so SAP is one of the major innovations of SAP is the HANA database, the in-memory database, which is very fast and which has certain benefits. And SAP solutions, like for example, SAP S4HANA, as the name says, is running on the HANA database, but also solutions like Data Intelligence, Data Warehouse, or Analytics Cloud, and Mendix apps. So when you deploy a Mendix application, you can choose HANA as your database. It's why you would choose it has different reasons you would do it, not all the time. But if you want to have advantage of the HANA in-memory database capabilities, you can basically do it. Then another thing are SAP connectors. So when I worked at SAP, right, a standalone app itself is not that useful. It's most of the time useful when you connect it with SAP systems. As we saw it, right, custom process, you have your process, but still you have your single source of truth, your SAP, let's say now S4HANA system, then you want to interact with it. You want to exchange data. And how you do it in SAP is usually with the OData protocol or the BTP connector, but OData is more common. And the cool thing about Mendix is, so when I go to an SAP system and I have an API where it says, okay, I don't know, I get the supplier, a list of suppliers, right, from that SAP system. Then they give me the endpoint. I take the endpoint, I just put it into this domain model generation from Mendix provided. I just put the URL there, and then I click on generate, and it generates a package which I can just include in my Mendix app, and it exactly has reflected the table in SAP, the supplier table with the attributes, with the relations, with everything. So it's really like just click, 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 and suddenly it's basically there. Of course, you still have to program the interaction between it, but your Mendix app exactly knows what kind of objects or objects the SAP system that endpoint is expecting, and then you have a very easy way of communicating with each other. So that's very cool done with the Mendix thing. It saved me a lot of time and effort. And that's one of my favorite parts about it, actually, the integration part. One thing is also the single sign-on. So especially at SAP, right, when we had our SAP accounts, internal accounts, I can't just create another user account for the Mendix apps I built and say like, okay, you have now an account here, an account here, account here. But instead, with Mendix, you can easily, when you deploy it to the BTP, map your Mendix roles. Let's say in your Mendix app, you have an admin and a user. You can map them to the roles, the users in your SAP BTP environment. It's called role collection. I don't want to deep dive into that. But the cool thing is at SAP, it was like that. Everyone who logged into the Mendix app I've built at SAP could just use their SAP normal account with a single sign-on. They just clicked and they were logged in. Of course, the authorization has to be done in the SAP BTP, but no further account was needed. And then last but not least is the deployment. Now it's frozen. Well, so the deployment on SAP BTP, actually Yuri will also show that in a minute, is done just by click, 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 connect, and then it's connected. It's really like a very simple process, and then you have the environment connected. What I want to point out here is what makes Mendix so strong is not that it only runs on the SAP Business Technology platform, but it's a multi-cloud solution. So it runs on AWS, on Azure, on Google Cloud, and Red Hat OpenShift. So if you if you use Mendix as a solution, as a low-code platform, it's not only targeting the SAP ecosystem, it does it very, very good. I think it's the best one doing it low-code wise. And but you also have all your other clouds which you're running, the possibility of deploy your Mendix applications there. So that was basically a brief introduction of what was SAP, what is S/4HANA, what is the challenge of the SAP customers right now when doing the transformation, and the solution of the low-code platform, Mendix in this case. We saw what Mendix is capable of, and with that, I hope you got some insights about why Mendix is so relevant and a big player when it comes to S/4HANA transformation, and why you should definitely consider it as a SAP customer, but also if you're a like delivery partner or you have IT services running, you should definitely get in touch with this whole topic, and it's an opportunity which for the clients and for the delivery partners, and also for SAP as well as for Mendix. So thanks for that. That was my part. And here's a thanks. Here's a QR code. Please scan this for feedback. You can also do it now. I will share it later too, but would highly appreciate that. The feedback is always important to improve the next sessions, right? The next meetups.